Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, that was okay. I'll try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
Certainly my honor and privilege to be with you this evening. Achieving educational excellence. Achieving educational excellence. By 2030, North Carolina will have the best public education system in the entire nation. Let me take a moment or two of personal privilege. First of all, let me say how deeply honored I am to be your North Carolina Superintendent of Public Instruction.
There you are.
It is an incredible thing for me and for my family. I am so blessed to have been married to the most wonderful woman in the world, 33 plus years, my beautiful wife, Stephanie. Tonight then, as we launch a strategic plan for 2030, I am so proud to talk about a 5-year plan for North Carolina's public schools, and I'll do the following. We'll talk about a vision for North Carolina public schools. We'll talk about the journey to the vision. We'll talk about what it means to be the best in the nation. And then we'll talk about how we will turn this vision into reality. And then certainly we'll spend a moment or two talking about your role in turning this vision into reality. So then first, the vision for North Carolina's public schools, achieving educational excellence. This vision has 3 main components: high academic achievement, character development, and this audacious goal of having our public schools be the very best in the nation. You see, by 2030, I do believe we can get there. But it's going to take all of us to make it happen. So how did this vision, this goal of having the best in the country, come to be? Let me take you back for a few moments, certainly, to even before I decided to run. I thought to myself, North Carolina's public schools are doing amazing things, and yet maybe not everybody sees it the way I do. And so I thought early on when I was deciding to run, that these early thoughts that I was having is, how do we get our state to fully appreciate our public schools? Maybe we need to have a unifying vision, if you will, that will galvanize North Carolina, to get us to a place of saying, yes, our public schools are dynamic. They are marvelous. They must be celebrated. And then I decided to run for office. And even while I was running, I was listening to what folks would say about our public schools. Some of it great, some of it maybe a bit challenging. But I was listening. And people certainly expressed deep, deep appreciation, but also expressed some of the challenges that they were facing. I reflected on my time as a school district administrator, and I was reminded of my mother. She was a special education educator for many years, and she was one of those that would say, Maurice, she did not call me mother. Maurice, is this the best you can do? For if it's not, do it again. Because in this household, we only expect excellence. And so, I tried to deliver on excellence. Now, as I said, I was honored to be elected as your North Carolina Superintendent of Public Instruction. And what I said I would do is, before I say what the plan is going to be, even though I had some ideas, I would do a listening and learning tour. We called it Mo Wants to Know. This opportunity to go around the state and hear from folks about their dreams and aspirations for our public schools. And so I listened, and I am so glad that I did. You see, thousands upon thousands of you spoke. We heard folks from Waynesville to Wilmington, from Windsor and places in between, from Caldwell to Cabarrus, to Cumberland and places in between. There were over 30 virtual sessions that we conducted, 8 regional visits in person like tonight. We visited 16 school districts, 21 public schools in total. There were thousands of responses shared to 4 questions that we posed. Those questions included, what do you like about your public schools? What should we celebrate and continue? We also asked, what are your challenges? What needs improving? And what are your solutions to those challenges? What are your big ideas, if you will? And then finally, what's your commitment to making our public schools amazing? Now, just to give you some stats, over 1,200 miles were driven, 39 chickens were seen, 5 geese were seen, we saw 4 groups of beehives, we saw 2 goats, one of which was named LeBron. Some of you might be a little slow. Goats and LeBron. We saw 1 astronaut in Fayetteville. We saw 1 hog farm in Durham. We saw 1 STEMA Academy school in Wallace, North Carolina. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and agriculture. There were 24 junior ROTC members who would come in and allow us to salute the flag. There were 4 musical performances. We saw 2 Spark Labs as we toured the state, 2 dual language immersion classes visited 1 community school. Over 5,000 North Carolinians shared their hopes, their dreams, their visions for how our North Carolina public schools can be the very best. We also analyzed a lot of data. Boy, oh boy, did we look at a lot of data. Now, there were moments of pride as we looked at certain of that data. We were able to smile proudly as we thought about being the 2nd highest career and technical education course participation in the entire nation. Being a national leader with regards to early colleges. In fact, the early college at Guilford has been ranked #1 by U.S. News and World Report. Top 5 with regards to dual language immersion programs in the nation. The most national board certified teachers. And now, while we know that our 1.5 million students across our wonderful schools in North Carolina are more than just a metric. They're indeed wonderfully creative. They are intelligent. We did look with clear eyes at a series of metrics to see where our public school students compare to the rest of the nation. This gets us to the point of understanding where we are and where we must go to be the best in the country. These are the metrics that we'll be looking at year after year. They include our graduation rate, where you can see, and this is the numbers for the last time that the entire nation had numbers. So for some of these, they may be a bit dated, but for this, for example, North Carolina has a graduation rate, a four-year cohort graduation rate of 86.4%. That places us right in the middle of the country, with the national leader being West Virginia at 91.2. You can see then the other metrics, things like ACT, composite score, AP advanced placement, exam participation and performance. You can see where we are with things like dual enrollment, career and technical education participation, and I already mentioned to you that we're already in second place across the country. Career and technical education credentials, so there isn't a one national measure of this, but I can tell you we are doing some phenomenal work here. Over 350,000 industry credentials that have been recognized and received by our students. And then the last one is this. Where are we with regard to the enrollment of students in our public schools? We have to recognize that we have been in a bit of a downward spiral, right? To the place now where we do have still the vast majority of our students in our public schools, but it's down to 84%. This is why we must be clear-eyed about the need for us to be sure that our public schools become the very best. Because our parents and families are demanding excellence, we have to deliver on it, or they'll go elsewhere. Now, what I will tell you is, as they go elsewhere, I worry about the education that they'll receive, because the very best education will be in our public schools. Now, we're going to be certainly looking at our partners. Going to be looking at those at the State Board of Education and the North Carolina General Assembly, regardless of political party. We'll look at all of our partners and think to ourselves, are we all going to come together for our public schools? I submit to you that I believe that we can and we will, as long as we have a unifying vision that can make it happen. And so that gets us back then to achieving educational excellence, this goal of being the best in the nation. You see, tonight, and for the next 5 years, we'll be delivering on your dreams. This is our roadmap to success, to greatness, where we do have high academic achievement, where we do build our students' character, and where we do become the very best public school system in the entire country. Now, this is not just a wish or an aspiration. It is our commitment to our 1.5 million students. This is not just about better test scores. This is about preparing students for life. This is not just about fixing problems. This is about celebrating what's already great. This indeed will take time. There's no question about it. But we have outlined a total of a little over 100 actions that have different launch dates of things that we will be doing to move our public system to a place of greatness. At this moment, I do want to spend just a moment to be sure that I thank so many individuals who have done this work for so many years, for the incredible jobs that they have done. We recognize former superintendents as an example. Thank you for your leadership in this work. I want to recognize former State Board Chairperson Phil Kirk for your leadership in this work. I want to thank so many other individuals who are here tonight. I have seen you toil, trying to do everything you can to lift up our public schools. Whether it's in an organization or directly in our schools, I I appreciate you. And now it's time to get to work. There are 8 pillars that we're going to be working on with those 100 actions to get us to this wonderful place. I'll spend just a moment or two going through each of the pillars and then provide a sample or two of examples of actions that we focused on. So the first one, preparing each and every student for what's the next phase in life. There will be focus areas for each of these pillars. For example, with this first one is to ignite early learning, elevating teaching and learning, promoting excellence for all, reimagining the student experience, and launching life-ready graduates. An example, if you will, something that I am so proud of that's already in place. This is North Carolina College Connect. This is an amazing, amazing initiative. Sit with me for a moment and understand that there will be now, this year, 63,000 students across North Carolina that will be directly admitted into at least 34 colleges and universities. Because they have achieved a grade point average of 2.8 or higher. There's no applications, there's no essays, no fees, just opportunities. Where do you want to go to school? Wow. Wow, and this is one of those examples where, again, I have to recognize that there were folks who are doing this work because this is the second year. There was a pilot, if you will, effort last year. A smaller subset of students and programs and schools and universities. A test case, if you will. And then this year, we said, let's take it and push it well beyond anything that anyone can imagine. Gosh almighty. Here we go. Going to Supt. Let me give you another example. We launched this year with the incredible investment by the Golden Leaf Foundation. An initiative that will focus on rural schools and some of our communities that are low income. And we're going to say to them that with an investment of $25 million over the course of the next 5 years, we're going to be focusing on a total of 15 middle schools, focusing on mathematics and improving mathematics in those schools. Schools that need to be elevated, and that some that are already doing good work, moving them even beyond that as well. It's another initiative that I was so proud to be able to announce just a few weeks ago. Now, certainly then, we'll be elevating teaching and learning, new pre-K to 12 teaching and learning framework. This framework will provide standards-aligned instruction. All students across the state will have access to high-quality learning, aligning high-quality materials and instruction, raising standards and outcomes. And then I want us to dream big. Even my team was having some struggles with this, because they would say, well, now we want to have every child graduate with a college, having taken a college exam, a course and exam, and doing well on that, or completing a career and technical education course, and doing well on maybe an exam related to that, or getting an industry credential. And I said to my team, why can't every child, when they walk across the graduation stage, not only have either or, but both and? This is where we're going in North Carolina, where every student can take a college level course and do well on, for example, an AP exam, or an international baccalaureate exam, or a Cambridge International exam, as well as take a career and technical education course. and do well on that as well, or JROTC course as well. This is what we should be envisioning and then expecting and then delivering for our students. So we go then to pillar 2, revering public school educators. I need to be sure we spend a moment here. I use the word reverence for a reason. This is a word that is higher than respect. Our educators are part of a noble profession. They transform lives. Did you see our educators tonight? Did you see our educators working with our children? How many times did it take to maybe get the pledge exactly right? And our educators stood right there with our children. This, my friends, is why we must revere our educators. They are doing incredible work. And so tonight I want us to be part of the team. When we talk about our educators, no longer talk about just simply respect and doing good work. But let's start using this word of reverence. Because what it will do is elevate them, and it will elevate the way we think about our educators. Now, we're going to do more than simply elevate and restore pride. We're certainly going to be focused on increasing educator compensation. And certainly, that one is going to take the journalists. They need to come along for the ride. North Carolina is near the bottom in the southeast in what we're paying our educators. We can do better. And we will. Because I have confidence in my General Assembly that when presented with the information that our educators are finding jobs in other states, not staying in the profession, that our very best are moving elsewhere, they will do what they did, for example, with National Board certified teachers, where they increased the compensation for those. That's how we have the best in the nation. That they understood what it meant to have advanced teaching roles and providing resources there as well. So we can do this. We absolutely can. This is also about being sure that we think about how to remove some of the things that we are putting on our educators as well. The third pillar is enhancing parent, caregiver, and community support. So an example of this, as you think about, as you look at those focus areas, would be a virtual family academy. We want to be sure that our families have access to incredible information across the entire state, so they can become even better educators for their own children. We'll work with our local school districts and public schools to enhance what they already provide, providing them toolkits and webinars and other things that will provide them with wonderful, wonderful opportunities. Pillar 4, ensuring healthy, safe, and secure learning environments. So, thank you again to our General Assembly for listening to the folks in the Department of Public Instruction, the folks who worked on a governor's council, to parents and community members, for passing legislation this year that says maybe we've gone a bit too far with access to technology. Yes. That maybe we need to remove things like cell phones during instruction. And so, the amazing thing is I was in a school even this morning. And Teachers were engaged with students. Students were engaged in the lessons. It was phenomenal to see. And so that's part then of this strategy that's already in place. We want to be sure that it's executed at the highest levels. Number 5, optimizing operational excellence. And you see the focus areas for this area. So we already then have something that we're launching for all of our public school units starting on Monday. For those who are already in session, you know that this is already in place. A tremendous amount of work has been put in place to put in a new student information system that will allow for much more access to information for our parents. So they can know more about what's going on in our schools, so they can be supportive of what their students are doing. And there'll be a one-stop shop for things like grades and attendance and other important school information. Assignments, announcements, schedules, food service, and much, much more. I'm excited about what this will mean for our public schools. Now, anytime you do anything major like this, there may be a hiccup or two along the way. But trust and believe that I know that my team will be ready for those hiccups and will smooth out the edges as we implement a major new system. Pillar 6, leading transformative change. As you look at those focus areas, I'll lift up a couple of examples. 1, creating an innovation leadership council. This is this idea of bringing together our traditional public schools and our charter schools and our lab schools. You see, here in North Carolina, we have decided, whether we like it or not, to try to separate them from each other. And so there's amazing things happening in each of those areas, but we're not talking to each other and learning from each other. We will use this leadership council to bring together good things that are going on so that they can be of a benefit to each other to make our schools even better. We'll certainly leverage artificial intelligence. North Carolina was one of the first states in the entire country to issue guidance to its schools on the use of artificial intelligence technology. Now we must keep up with all that what's happening across our state and nation and the world with regards to AI. At the same time, we've got to ensure that we understand how to use this safely, responsibly, and ethically. So it's going to be a constant balancing act as we work on issues related to AI. Pillar 7, celebrating the excellence in public education. And you see a number of the focus areas there. This is about being champions of public education. And I'll come back and I see another State Board of Education. Wow, Chris Green. Oh my goodness. Last week she said she was going, I saw her in High Point, North Carolina. Celebrating how many years? 91. She was such an amazing supporter of me when I was superintendent of Guilford County Schools, and she said, I'm coming. And I'm sorry, I'm off script. Wow, thank you. You are indeed a champion of public education, and this is about celebrating and building champions of public education. We have to change the narrative. around public education, from things where folks want to lift up issues to possibilities, where every success story is being shared, where every achievement is being celebrated. You, my friends, are the champions, the parents, the businesses, the communities. Public schools, don't read the headlines, because unless they say something good, they're not telling the complete story. They are flourishing and will do even more with all of our support. Tonight, I'll be calling on you a bit later to become true champions of public education. And in Pillar 8, galvanizing champions to fully invest and support public education. So there are a number of things that we'll be focusing on here. But we also want to be sure that we have some fun along the way. And so we'll do something, for example, like the 10 Million Books campaign. So this will be this effort across North Carolina, where we will challenge our incredible students to read 10 million books over the course of a year. Now, it's books that they will choose. We're not assigning them. It's ones that they're going to be interested in, that will delight them, that will encourage them to read even more. And the reason that this is in this pillar is, can you but imagine what will happen when we say that we want more than just our educators to be part of this? We in fact want our public libraries to engage in this effort. That we're going to want our bookstores across the state to say, are you part of the 10 Million Book Challenge? When you start to get the entire community invested in our educational system, that's where transformation will indeed occur. And so now, I've shared with you just some of the over 100 game-changing actions in our plan. I encourage you certainly to look through the plan. You can see it online. You can go to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction State Board of Education website and find more about the plan there.